Welcome to Level Up Tribes. Level Up Tribes provides resources to help you attain the necessary resources to level up your mind, body, and soul and realize your full potential. It is about exploring, learning, providing you with the tools from the experts for you to create a better version of yourself. I am your host, Agnes Goodwine, and welcome, Tribes. Joining us today to talk about yoga, malas, and everything in between is Megan Cannon, yoga instructor, certified Reiki practitioner, and certified crystal specialist. Megan started her yoga to help her cope from the day-to-day work-life balance. After some deep thought, breaking down a lot of walls, and finding a teacher who helped her meditate by introducing her to a mala, she took the leap to complete her 200 hours of yoga teacher training at Urban Yoga in Phoenix in 2014. She then completed her 300 hours in 2018. Her mala business came to life in 2015 along with her Reiki Master Practitioner Certification and becoming a certified crystal specialist. By partnering these two things, she helps work through emotional blockages in the mind and body. Welcome, Megan.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me today.
Yes, thanks for being here.
Can you share with us your story of how you took the leap to becoming self-employed as a yoga teacher?
Sure. I think it kind of happened. I didn't really know it was happening, right? Sometimes the journeys that we have, when we're in them, we aren't necessarily planning them. But I started yoga because I was very stressed and tired. And I was working long hours, traveling a lot for my job, and saying yes to everything, right?
Yes.
Can you do this? Can you do this? Yes. Can you do this? Yes. Because I think we've been taught too that that's helping or being a team player. So I was really putting myself last. And so I started yoga. And when I signed up to do my teacher training, I wanted to learn how to do all the poses right.
Right.
Because I'm a type A. So all you type A people out there, you know what I'm talking about. And I told myself, I'm never going to teach. I just want to know how to do the poses correctly.
Yes.
And so then I did my teacher training. And not too long after that, my husband came home and said, I want to open a gym. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll teach a yoga class there because I have the certification. And it kind of unraveled from there.
Nice.
But yeah.
That's beautiful. What would you say are the health benefits of doing yoga, and why should someone try it?
I think at first, yoga can be really intimidating because of social media and what we see, right?
Yes.
Seeing people in handstands and things like that
Yes.
can be really intimidating. But once you realize that that's not what it's about, it's way more about going inward so that you know how to connect outward. And so I say yoga's for everyone.
Yes.
It's finding your style of yoga. It's finding a place where you feel comfortable. It's finding a teacher that sees you.
Okay.
And I think that's really important. The benefit of doing it, it lowers your blood pressure.
Yes.
It makes you not as reactive. It slows everything down so that you're way more mindful if you allow it to be. Is that going to happen the first time you sit on the mat? Probably not.
Okay.
Right? It's like the first time you ever do anything new.
Right.
Even as simple as you have the same phone, but you get that upgrade.
Yes.
And things are just slightly different that can annoy you. So, I think being patient with yourself is why yoga is, just like any other workout. But to me, it's going inward more and not worrying about doing that pose. It's more about I showed up, this feels good in my body, or this doesn't feel good in my body, and honoring wherever you're at. And that's yoga.
What about someone that says, well, Megan, I'm just not flexible?
Good for you, because flexible people sometimes struggle even more in yoga.
Really?
Because they don't necessarily know when to stop because they're so flexible.
Okay.
Really strong people, and don't get me wrong, flexible people are great at yoga, like beautiful practice. But sometimes people who are really strong, they can stand tall in their power. They can stand in their bodies and they can feel in their bodies, and everyone's body is different.
Yes.
And wouldn't you be doing yoga to become flexible?
Yes.
Right. So, flexible in your mind.
Okay.
Too. So it's not just your body. So I think anyone, right, whether you're flexible or you're not flexible, which that's relative.
Okay.
Everyone's body, my body will not do certain poses.
Yes.
It just won't. And that's okay.
So don't be intimidated.
Yeah.
Just try it and see if it's for you.
Exactly. And I think foundations yoga classes are a great way to start. Restorative yoga is a beautiful place to start. It's very gentle, a gentle flow. Don't thrust yourself into, a power hour flow the first
Right.
time, because that could really intimidate you or scare you.
Okay. How has yoga helped you evolve and transform your life?
I wish I could sum that up somehow to explain it, but
Yeah.
my world is completely different. I mean,
Yes.
people who even knew me, I would say 5 or 7 years ago, sometimes don't recognize me anymore. Not in a bad way,
Right.
but the world just looks really different to me. And that was a lot of practice on the mat and a lot of releasing maybe stuff that I didn't even know I had.
Okay.
Right? Like, we store our issues in our tissues.
Yes.
And so I had years worth of stuff. I had a wonderful childhood. I have great parents, great sister, great relationships and friends. But I think because I was trying so hard in the corporate world to climb that ladder, because that's what I thought I had to do, and I couldn't get a B, I had stored a lot of stuff in my body.
Okay.
And so I think once I started to change the shape of my body and breathe and sit down with my shit, I released a lot of stuff. There are a lot of tears on that purple jade mat over there. So it's okay. I mean, I had to get it out somehow. And so I feel like once I shed all of that, the world, I'm not as frustrated. Things don't bother me. I'm not as reactive. Somebody else doing something is not a reflection of me. Why am I owning that? If they're upset about traffic, why would I let that person's upsetness upset me? It's not me. So, I mean, those are
How
all...
long did it take you to get to that point?
Well, once I got through my own type A-ness, once I got the poses, quote, right, whatever that means. I mean, I would say it took me like 3 years.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Of really, I started with the physical movement first. Okay. I was like, I want to burn calories. I started with a set sequence. Every type A is a dream. I know what's coming next. And, I did a heated flow and all the things that are great. Those are great options for people, but they weren't what my body needed. Okay. And then I met my teacher, and she introduced me to meditation. It was like, listen, you can show up on the mat every day and check it off like a checklist, or you can show up to the mat every day and you can take time to slow down and not worry about what you have to do after this, and just do it. And if you feel like crying in Shavasana, cry in Shavasana. Who cares what everyone else around you thinks?
Yes.
And I think I realized I really cared a lot what people thought. I had this, everything. We all go through those phases,
yes.
But I think the place I was at in my career, and they were a great company for me at that time in my life. Mm-hmm. But for whatever reason, I felt like I had to prove a lot of things, and I'm not sure who I was proving them to.
It's beautiful that you found your peace,
Yeah, and it's the human experience. It's like Earth School. Like, we're trying every day. Everyone is doing the best. You have to believe everyone's doing the best they can every day.
Yes.
Because if not, it's really salty. It's like,
this world is harsh.
Right, it can be tough. So
there are multiple types of yoga that are practiced. Could you briefly explain a few of them and which types you teach?
Sure. So I teach foundations yoga here in the Valley at Ironwood Yoga Studios. I teach vinyasa yoga, which is a flow, and I teach yin yoga also. Okay. And so I teach here at our gym at Papago CrossFit, and then I also teach yin yoga at Mountainside. And foundations is a basic breakdown of a pose in class. We're going to move our bodies, we're going to stretch, but maybe I'm going to stop the class and teach you how to do triangle. Okay. Great. So everyone learns the cues of triangle, the energetic body of triangle. Vinyasa is more flow. For those of you who are listening who've done it, you do a lot of chaturangas, right? Okay. You are doing the physical movement of yoga to burn up any old, stale, unneeded energy that's in your body. That is why you're moving your body. Okay. So you're changing the shape of your body, you're holding a pose, and you're breathing.
Okay.
Right? So you'll feel heat inside your body. That's great. You're burning up all the junk you don't need. Mm-hmm. So that when you lay in Shavasana or you decide to meditate, your body's tired. Okay. Right? You're not like, oh, my hip, my feet are falling asleep. Right. Your body doesn't realize any of that because it's tired from all the work that it just did.
Okay.
And so that's vinyasa. It can be fast. It can be a little more rigorous on the body. And then yin yoga is a long hold, right? It's like I hate using this word sometimes, but it's a stress. of your joints.
Okay.
And you're in poses for anywhere from 5 to 7 minutes.
Oh, wow.
It's a beautiful practice when you can get to a headspace where you're counting your breath or you're using a mantra, but it's basically setting your joints up for the rest of your life.
Okay.
So that when you bend over to pick something up or you're cutting it loose on the dance floor when you're 70, you don't like throw your back out.
Right.
So, you know, yin yoga, some people are like, that wasn't for me. Right, because everything we do is very yang energy.
Yes.
We're on our phones, we're moving, we're hustling, we're driving, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
How do you come down? Yin yoga is how you come down.
Okay.
And it can be uncomfortable. Your body starts to talk to you. I
Okay.
mean, right, like you and I could sit here and hold this mic in this hand for the next hour, and eventually your hand's going to tell you,
Right.
switch hands. Do you? You know,
Yes.
that's the beauty
Yes.
of yin, is you're kind of feeling into your body of like, this is dull and achy and uncomfortable, but it's temporary.
Okay.
So breathe through it.
Do you have a favorite when you first started?
Oh, when I first started,
Yeah.
I mean, I loved, you know, vinyasa. And I do love vinyasa yoga. I mean, that's the flow of yoga, and I really enjoy that. And my teacher teaches that. I mean, I love restorative yoga. If I can get to restorative and yin, it's a beautiful place because it's so peaceful and it's quiet. And if you can turn your mind off, it's a really great place to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
What advice would you give someone who wants to become a yoga instructor?
Do it. There's so much yoga in the world to be done. You know? Something that one of my really good friends and mentor, Shaylin, and I talk about is like, there's no competition in yoga.
Right.
Like, there is enough yoga in the world for everyone.
I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah, it's like there is no competition.
Yes.
You know, I didn't invent yoga.
Right.
It's been around. We're all somewhat copying something, right?
Yes.
And I say hold the lineage of yoga. Yoga means union, the word itself. So why wouldn't you allow someone else to become who they're supposed to be if they want to hold space for someone else?
I know.
Do it. 100% do it. Don't ever feel like there's too many yoga teachers. There's not.
Okay.
You know, I mean, there's just so much yoga.
Do you have to be certified?
You do, yes.
You do?
So you have to have a 200 hour is
Okay.
the bare minimum to teach, and then you have the opportunity to get up to a 500 hour, which would be 300 additional hours.
Okay.
But there's so many. Phoenix, we're really lucky. We have a really wonderful yoga community.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we have wonderful teachers. We
Okay.
really do. And I'm from a really small town, and where I'm from has opened beautiful yoga studios. So I get so excited when I go home. I'm like, yes. But I say do it, and even if you don't want to teach,
Okay.
right? Like, let's just say you want to deepen your own practice.
Yes.
Because sometimes when you show up to a class, it's hard, right? Like this
Right.
morning I had 20 students at the 8 o'clock class, and I am holding space for 20 people, but I may not be able to teach you every single thing.
Yes.
And so maybe your 200 hour is something you do for yourself,
Okay.
and you don't have to become a teacher.
Okay.
But you can deepen your practice, and you never know when someone might ask you, hey, can you teach a yoga class for us? I mean, we have teachers who teach here, and they're doing their 200 hour certification so that after school they can offer yoga to their friends and teach. Great.
Right. In Phoenix, where would you go to get that certification?
So we have a lot of, at most studios certify,
Oh,
have
okay.
certification. So, Shaylin and I, we will be offering a teacher training next year for
Nice.
people, 200 hour through Cactus Moon School of Yoga. So
Okay.
Shaylin and I will offer that. And we try to do it in the summer so that, teachers are available to do it. We do it on the weekends.
Okay.
It's about 5 months long. But I did my teacher training at Urban Yoga Phoenix. And I
Yeah.
love Urban.
Mhm.
Moksha, modern yoga. There's a lot of places that offer
Okay.
great teacher trainings.
How was your first, when you first
My
had
first
to?
class I
Yeah.
ever taught? Oh my gosh. I think I wrote it down on paper.
You did.
I think I read it word for
That's
word
okay.
in the back of the room.
That's your type A.
Yeah, you get to a place where a new teacher asked me the other day, when will I get to a place where I'll get to be with the class? And
Yeah.
that took me a year. Everyone's
Okay.
body's different, and you have to kind of learn how to see everyone's body as a whole versus fixating on one person.
Yeah.
Because, right, you don't want that person to be that person that the teacher's all over you, unless it's
I actually
yummy
like that.
adjustments for the whole hour. But, I think finding one person at first to kind of watch their body and watch the cues that you say, but it takes time.
Okay.
I say just be patient with yourself.
Okay. What has yoga taught you about mindset?
I mean, I mentioned earlier, I feel like I'm a way more calm person.
Yeah.
I still have reactions, but I would say they're not as intense.
Yes.
They don't last as long.
Okay.
I would think that for me inside, I bounce back quicker, right?
Right.
It's like I never realized my ego was holding, a grudge or a to-do list on things. And for me now, I might have a moment of like, oh, that was uncomfortable, or that person cut me off and flipped me off. But I'm just like, okay, what am I going to do? Flip them off too?
Right.
It's not, that person's not going to receive it. And what good does that do for me by allowing someone else to control my reaction?
Yes.
And I'm not their spiritual assignment. Why should I be teaching them a lesson?
Oh my God. It's
like, stay in your own lane. It's okay.
That actually resonates. It resonates with me because I'm a very reactive person. That's my goal for this year, to stop doing that. I'm not your spiritual guide.
Yeah.
And I do that constantly. And I know that, and it annoys people. And so I'm self-aware of it now.
Sure.
And I need to bring it back.
Yeah.
And just stay in my lane, because that's not my role.
And I think a lot of people take on other people's stuff.
Yes.
A lot. You know, like people will, obviously you're in our yoga studio and people stay after class and we talk. Yeah. And I'm also a certified life coach. So I I talk to people and deal with a lot of their issues. And a lot of times I'll just ask them, like, are you venting? Are you asking for help? Was this person venting to you, or were they asking you for help? Well, I think they were venting. Okay. Then why are you coming up with solutions for them? Let them come up with it. Be a great listener, create boundaries, and that's that. You don't have to carry it on your back. But it's hard because, sometimes it's easier just to watch it and say, oh, do this, do this, do that.
Right.
But sometimes people have to go on that journey, and it can be painful to watch.
Right.
But yeah, someone flipping me off and cutting me off, that's their journey, not mine.
Right. Well, I had a guy, funny story. I had a guy that was really, I guess he had somewhere to go. And so he was being very aggressive, and we ended up getting off on the 60 at the same time. And so he steady cussing at me. And so I blew him a kiss. Yeah. And he was like, what in the hell? And it actually worked, you know. I was like, okay, I'm not going to do this with you right now.
Let's give him the peace sign.
Yeah.
And, I think, too, it's just a matter of maybe they're your spiritual assignment for the day. Like, you may not be theirs.
True.
But if you have reoccurring things that reoccur in your life, in yoga, they're called samskaras. They show up again and again and again. Then.
How do you spell that?
I knew you were going to
ask. Well, pronounce it again.
Samskara.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's Samkara.
Okay.
I can look at
Homework.
A samskara. It's stories or things or situations that reoccur over and over and over. It's like you keep dating the same guy, or you keep finding the same girlfriend, or you keep having the same argument with a parent. Something's got to give. Yes. Right? And sometimes we have to just let go of the expectation of someone else. And maybe you should set an expectation for yourself.
Preach.
Girl, amen. Right?
Lord have mercy. That is it.
But that's Earth School. That's the human experience. So if that frustrates you, this is going to be rough.
Yes.
So it's like, embrace it. You earned to be here. You're here. So it's like, some of that stuff stinks. Yes. And other things are great. The good outweighs the bad.
True.
It really does. We can all have lows in our life. Some days are glorious, and some days you're like, what the hell? You know? And I think just knowing that's part of the experience. If it's not always the highs aren't always going to be high, and your lows can't always be so low. There's a happy medium.
How do you overcome the lows? Do you bounce back?
I think you lean into them and you feel them. I feel like we're taught to power through a lot of feelings.
Okay.
Like, well, hurry up, that's, you broke up with that person 6 months ago, or you divorced that person a year ago, or that person passed away. Who's to say how long? Now, do I think you should be, like alone in your house with the blinds closed? Right. No, but I do think you should be able to talk about it and feel it. Feeling sadness. How would you know what happiness feels like if you've never felt sadness?
Yes.
So I think you need to feel it.
Okay.
And I do think you need a tribe of people around you.
Okay.
Even if I don't have children, and it takes a village.
Right. That's true.
So I think asking for help, sometimes we forget, or in those lows, we don't know what to ask for. And so, I had a friend whose dad passed away last year, and I just let her know, I don't know what you need, but when you think of something, I'm here. I'll be here, whatever it is you need, and I hope that people know that then they can actually reach out and do that.
Right.
It could be simple.
Yes.
Like so simple. I don't feel like going out to the grocery. Can you go get me?
Right.
Whatever it is.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
How does yoga compare to other forms of exercises?
Oh, I have to be so careful how I answer this question because, my husband's a CrossFit coach. Okay, so I think there's a lot of similarities.
Okay.
Of course, I'm biased because I love yoga and it changed my life. But there are people who've been runners and it's changed their life.
Right.
You get into this meditative state. There's almost like a shift that happens for people whenever they're working out, whatever it is they're doing. For yoga, I think the shift happens a little faster because you have to sit at the end of class for 5 minutes,
right,
or 10. Hopefully you get a 10-minute Shavasana. So, I think it's the journey. And now some people can't. I've had people ask me, why do I do Shavasana? I have stuff to do. And there's other people who are like, I'm here for Shavasana, So I think that the journey of it, it's you on your mat. Runners could say the same thing, it's you running. But I think at the end of whatever you decide to do, if it's any sport, swimming, it's yoga because it's the union of yourself. Yes. So wherever you feel united with who you are,
yes,
right? Your truest, highest, purest self, wherever that is, that's yoga. So it may not be on the mat, moving through the physical movement.
Right.
It may be on a hike with your family or your dog or by yourself. And you feel something bigger than you.
Yes.
But you're a part of it. That's yoga. So it doesn't have to be on the mat.
Right. To me, I think you guys have a good balance here because you have the high intensity workout, and then you also provide the yoga, which is, to relax those muscles. So it's a good thing that you guys do that yin and yang, for the body.
Yeah. And I can tell, when they've done a competitive workout and then they come in here and I gently remind them, you're not competing with anyone. You never know what someone's going through. So getting in the car, showing up, kudos. If I could give you a slow clap every day outside of your house that you got up and you made it to the class after a long day of work, after having, children and parents, we take on a lot of responsibility.
Right.
So to me, wherever you find union, it doesn't have to be burning calories. Maybe it is, but it doesn't have to be that every day.
Right. And for me, and tell me if I'm wrong, you're the instructor, but yoga for me, and I'm not at your level, but I do enjoy doing it because it gives me peace. It also allows me to stretch my joints and my muscles, but it also connects, like you said earlier, with myself.
Yeah.
So it kind of gives me an overall balance.
Yeah. It's called like a gap in time during meditation.
Yeah.
But sometimes you can hold a pose and you're thinking, but you don't remember what you were thinking about, but it wasn't necessarily like a to-do list.
Yes.
And I think that's a beautiful place to be because it's not that I'm not aware of my surroundings, but sometimes I don't know when I'm on the mat. I don't know. Someone's like, oh, I was up front. I didn't see you. I didn't see you either.
Yes.
And if you have a high intensity job where you're talking a lot, that was the other reason I loved yoga. It's like we didn't talk, And so I got this time to be quiet, which did not come naturally to me. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it.
Let's talk about your malas.
Okay.
You created the Moon Malas by Megan, which are custom-made mala beads. How did that idea come about?
So my teacher took me actually to get my first mala because everyone tells you should meditate. And you're like, okay, how do I do it?
Right.
And they're like, you just like sit down and you just don't think.
Yes.
And I'm like, what?
What is that?
Yeah. How does that work? Squirrel. Right. So my teacher was like, you need a mala. It's going to give you something to do. It's going to give your mind something to do. And so she took me, we got a mala. I had it on and I wanted another one because I was like, I don't want this one to leave my house because I want it to be on my altar where I meditate and I don't want other energy or I don't want it to leave. So I was like, well, I'll make myself one. And it was like someone else was in my body. Like,
oh my God.
I found this girl came to the gym. Her grandfather ended up owning a bead store. And he and I connected and I was like, well, I'm going to make myself one. And so I made myself one and of course I was wearing it in a picture and someone was like, hey, where did you get your mala?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I made it. And And they were like, great, can you make me 5?
Oh my God.
And I was like, at first I was like, no.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't thinking that, like it was for me, you know? And then I was like, well, I guess I could. And it just unraveled from there.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Where do you find the time to do the malas and do the yoga instructions? Like,
I mean, I teach right now about 8 classes a week. And I think going from a job that was very stressful to me, it doesn't feel like work.
okay.
Yesterday I strung for 4 hours and it flew by. And, I put intention into them if it's for someone specific, if they're working through something, addiction, cancer, and I'll meditate into each bead. And those can take me a little longer, but it doesn't, I feel like when something is your calling or your dharma in yoga, it doesn't really feel like work.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can't wait to find my dharma.
You will find it. Sometimes we hold ourselves back from it. It's in front of us, but we don't see that it's there.
Can you give us the history and the anatomy of a mala?
Absolutely. So I brought you one. This one's for you to take home.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So the malas have 108 stones on them. 1 represents your higher power, whatever that means to you. The O is completeness or emptiness, right? Earlier we talked life feels so full, or sometimes you're like, this is empty.
Right.
And the 8 is the infinity symbol. So whatever you believe happens after this or whatever you're in right now. Yes,
Okay.
that's why there's 108 stones.
Okay.
The tassel represents the crown chakra. So if you're familiar with the 7 major chakras that we study, there's a lot more chakras, but we focus on 7 of them. That tassel is the lotus flower at the top of the head. So it's said that every time we meditate, we release a petal from the top of the head.
Oh.
And so that's why sometimes people will say, can I have a mala with no tassel? Then it probably wouldn't be a mala.
Right.
But if you're using it for crystal energy or it's going to help you meditate, absolutely, I'll make it for you. But it does represent something. Down by the tassel is a larger stone. This is your guru. Guru in Sanskrit means eliminator of darkness.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And so you drape it over your middle finger, because I always say, this finger, your pointer finger, gets you in more trouble than this finger.
Really?
I mean, have you ever said anything nice with this finger?
No.
You can't.
Yeah.
So cute. It's still really aggressive. So we drape it over the middle finger. This finger is your ego, your pointer finger. Your middle finger is your heart.
Okay.
Yeah. If you start noticing how much you point, you're like, oh man, I got to put that finger away.
The ego.
And people misunderstand the ego sometimes. They think it's this like, I'm better than. The ego can be, I suck too. The ego is both, right? The ego can be, I'm better than, or it can be, I'm not good enough. That's your ego. That's your ego talking.
Really?
Yeah.
I just always thought the ego is more like aggressive and know-it-all.
No, it can be both. It can be just as, because some people don't have that reaction. You and I might have that reaction in our extreme ego, but somebody else, you and I, let's say the first yoga class I ever took, I was like, what was that?
Yeah.
I didn't know any of the poses. I mean, I went up to the teacher. I'm like, I've been taking yoga for a year, but someone else may have taken that class and been like, oh, I look stupid. Oh my God. I'm not, I want out of here. And so they rolled up their mat and they left. They never took yoga again.
Okay.
They're both the ego. So a lot of times I think the ego can get misunderstood about what it is. So we drape the mala over the middle finger. You pull towards your heart and you say a mantra. Mantra is simple. It can be one word: peace, peace. Your mind's going to wander. I'm hungry. Peace. Right? Like, there's so many things that come up. And people ask me, do things still come up? Absolutely. It's things that you're like, what? How did I get here? Why am I doing this to myself? So then you just acknowledge it and come back. Peace, peace. And I say, when you're a new meditator, say it out loud.
Yes.
Because you can still say peace in your head over and over and do other things. The mind's pretty powerful.
That's true.
And so I say it out loud. I always give out my mantra that I used for 2 years. This is the path, I'm on the path. This is the path, I'm on the path. Because I had to believe that.
Yes.
I had to get that vibration out because I didn't believe it was my path. I was like, what?
That's deep.
Yeah. So you're welcome to steal my mantra. Anybody out there, please. Yeah. So you go all the way around the mala, and that's meditation.
Okay.
So it's like a worry bead. Some people have asked me, is it like Buddha beads or rosary? Sure.
Okay.
Yes. It's something to give your mind something to do, because people will say, what about guided meditations? Guided meditations are great, but I fell asleep.
Yeah, I do too.
Their voices are beautiful.
Yes.
You know, and you're like in this singy songy state.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, I'm just going to lay down. Right? So when we're meditating, we don't want to lay down. We want to sit up.
Okay.
Okay. Because you're in a space where you're here, but you're in a gap in time.
Okay.
Right? So you're doing the vibration, and there's this really beautiful quote that your soul loves the sound of your voice.
Really?
So use it. Say
Okay.
it. This is the path, I'm on the path. Or I am enough. Or whatever comes to mind.
Okay.
That should be your mantra. I say use the same one for 30 days.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't want to jump all over the place.
Yes.
Right? Your soul's trying to keep up.
Yes.
And then, of course, I love crystals. So all the malas, like your mala here, you have rose quartz, onyx, and then you have some watermelon tourmaline. And so they all have crystal healing properties. So like, for example, onyx helps you make decisions. It brings luck and happiness. It helps with grief, lack of self-control, gives strength and self-confidence, and helps you feel at ease with your surroundings. It's good for your bones, your feet.
I'm having issues with my bone on my foot.
Well, here we go. Funny how I knew this one was for you. Right? So then you get the crystal healing property. People are familiar, like this crystal sound bowl right here that's under the table. That's what you're wearing on your wrist.
Okay.
So if I turn this crystal bowl, it's going to make a vibration. It's the same. You have the mala on, it carries a vibration. That vibration's connected to your body.
Okay.
That's how crystal healing works.
Do you use that when you're creating your malas?
I don't use that bowl unless they need cleansed.
Okay.
So people will wear them for a while, and
Okay.
they take on energy. You can cleanse them in the full moon, but you can also cleanse them with sound.
How are mala beads used, and what are the healing properties of your crystal mala beads?
So you have onyx and rose quartz and tourmaline. And so for me, I mean, unless you're getting a custom order, I just create whatever I'm drawn to.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I'll see stones together, and I always try to do balancing stones. Onyx and tourmaline are pretty like heavier stones. So then I
Yes.
added rose quartz to kind of soften it up a bit.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I have all kinds of malas on my website, and they have healing properties, but I do custom orders. And for people, I've done a lot for fertility and, you name it, there's a crystal for it.
Okay.
And crystals, something to clarify is like crystals don't heal us.
Yeah, let's touch on that a little bit.
So they're energy, and we are energy, right? Everything in here has energy. And so it moves energy along. So the example I give is carnelian. It's a beautiful stone. It's like an orangish red. If you have a cold, I would say get a carnelian stone. Carry it in your pocket, put it under your pillow, right? Have it be with you. It's not going to cure your cold, but instead of having a cold for 6 or 7 days, you're just going to have a nasty cold for 3. Does that?
Yes.
So it's speeding up the energy of whatever's happening. It doesn't heal you though.
Yes.
You already have the power to heal
Right.
with your mind.
Yes.
A lot of things, not everything.
Right.
But things like that's how crystals help. So like for people who have insomnia,
Okay.
it's like what's keeping you awake, right?
Okay.
Is it anxiety, fear, worry? What is it? And then there's a stone for that.
Okay.
So then when you're meditating, not only are you meditating and helping lower your blood pressure and improve overall mindfulness,
Right.
you also have the property of whatever crystal you're meditating with.
I love crystals.
I know.
I have
Me
so
too.
many at home.
Good for you.
And
You can never have enough.
I know. And I'm going to ask you a question because I love amethyst.
Yeah.
And I purchased one in Atlanta. It's pretty big, and I placed it about 3 weeks ago next to my bed. And I've been restless.
Yeah.
Is that not a good place to have?
Not really, honestly.
Okay.
So smoky quartz is great in the bedroom. It's a grounding stone. It'll help you sleep, right? It makes your body feel heavy. Amethyst is a master healer. So it's going to poke at everything you have going on and try to fix it.
OMG.
And when you're sleeping, you're super vulnerable to energy, right? That's when we're in our most
Yes.
vulnerable state or meditation. And so your front door, back door, those are great places for amethyst,
Okay.
right? They're stones of protection. They're master healers. So anytime you leave, you're not going to take your junk with you. Anytime you walk in the door, you're not going to bring the junk with you.
Okay. I was wondering about, and I was like, don't forget to ask
Yeah,
Megan about this amethyst, because last night I was just tossing and turning, and it's been like that since I got it, actually.
Yeah, it's gonna try to fix all your stuff. But quartz crystal and amethyst are master healers.
Okay.
So I don't always recommend them in your bedroom.
Okay.
When you're sleeping. Rose quartz is beautiful in your bedroom. Smoky quartz. Tourmaline is great.
Okay.
It's a nice grounding stone.
How about for work? Do you recommend any crystals for like your work desk area?
I mean, howlite is a white stone. It's got like gray. That's a great stone. It calms communication. It calms an overactive mind. I think that's a really great stone. Amazonite is a great stone. It's blue. It dispels negative energy. It helps creativity. It helps you see both sides of equations. It balances yin and yang.
Nice.
And that's nice to be especially if you have to deal with a lot of people and situations or customer service.
Okay.
You know?
If people want to know more about your crystal knowledge, and you have a lot, do you post things on Facebook or Instagram about them?
Yeah. Every once in a while I'll post, did you know this crystal does this? So many people, and I hope everyone knows this, they could ask me anything, and I don't expect them to buy a mala, right? Like sometimes people are afraid to ask a question. I'm like, ask the question. I will gladly tell you what stone that is for free. Like, right. So yeah, you can email me, you can message me on Instagram, but every once in a while I will post. I do practice crystal and Reiki together.
Okay.
So when people come here to get Reiki, I'll add crystals to that, because I can kind of tell where energy might be stuck in your body, and crystals are going to move energy faster than I could with my hands. Okay. My hands aren't healing you. We're moving energy through your body, but crystals are going to move it faster.
Let's talk about your mala workshops. I just learned about this from Donna.
Yeah. So I'm getting ready to go teach this workshop in Peru, actually. So I'm really excited for that. So I offer them probably once a month throughout the valley. Okay. And they're at different yoga studios or people's houses. Okay. So people will have me come to their house. I'll bring all kinds of crystals and stones, semi-precious and precious stones, which all of my stones are real. They're not dyed. They're real stones. And so I'll lay them all out, and we'll talk how you and I are talking. Yes. And then people will come up to the table and they will design their own mala. So I always say, like, whatever you feel drawn to, what you see on the table is what you need. Okay. And then they'll design and string it. They string it, not me. Okay. And at the end, I tassel them. I make the tassels at the bottom. Okay. And then you get to go home with one. I made one, and I had a problem doing the knot. Oh, girl, knotting. Yeah. Okay. So I don't offer knotted malas right now. They take a really long time in a workshop like that. And traditional malas are made out of silk. They don't stretch, and they have a knot in between. Yes. Yes. So these are stretchy. They don't have a knot in between. But yeah, traditional malas are made that way. But yeah, so at the workshop, don't worry about. Girl, that would be a 7-hour workshop. Okay. So yeah, no, that does not. Workshops are usually 2 hours. Okay. And whoever holds the workshop, if you have you want to have friends over and have 5 or 6 people over, whoever holds the workshop, their mala is free. Okay. And it's fun. I mean, I'm so interested in that. Yeah, it's a great time. And I probably do 1 or 2 of those a month. Okay. Private. And then I offer it at yoga studios publicly also. So, and usually we do a flow, or we've done malas and mimosas. And yes. Your malas are amazing. Oh, thank you. And thank you for that gift. Of course. Yeah. I appreciate it. Do you have any book recommendations about yoga, crystals, and even malas that we can? There aren't a lot of books on malas. Okay. Maybe that's our next thing together. Hey, right? Yeah. Karen Fraser has great books on crystals. Crystal for Beginners. She has 2 or 3 volumes of that. And a lot of people have the Crystal Bible. I mean, that's a great book. It's more of, you would have to go through and kind of read about each stone. But Karen's book is you have migraines. Here's a stone for that. Okay. You have lower back pain. Here's a stone for that. Okay. She's really great at how she lays that out. Okay. And I think it's a great place to start. Is there anything else that you would like to add or discuss that perhaps we didn't touch on today? No, I mean, I feel like we covered a lot of stuff. We did. But I would just say, I think that you and I talked about this a little before, but I did work a corporate job for 14 years. And at the time of my life, that was a great job, and on paper, it looked insane for me to leave. Yes. I had this salary guaranteed and 401k and all the things that I felt like I should do. But on my 30th birthday, which is still young, which was 5 years ago, I had what I call my awakening. And I think a lot of people have this, thinking about this the other day, a lot of people go through their awakening, but they have it maybe later, like when they're 50 or 60, which is not old, by the way.
Yeah.
I have a 93-year-old grandmother who just passed her driving test, by the way.
Get out of here.
Right? And she got her driver's license and kissed it when the guy gave it to her.
God.
But so to me, age is, it doesn't matter. But I think then it gets misunderstood as a midlife crisis.
Yes.
And what if it's a spiritual awakening?
Right.
What if it's your awakening? And just because you're older doesn't mean that you can't do what you want to do.
Right.
A lot of people were like, oh, you're 30, you've worked so hard for this job. Why would you quit it? If it doesn't feel right, don't do it. And I know that's easy to say.
Yes.
And there were things I had to do in my head in order for me to be able to leave.
Yes.
I knew I had to save a year's worth of expenses because I'm a type A. So whatever it is that you have to do in order to feel good about leaving or trying something new, try it as a hobby first.
Okay.
You don't have to go like all out, like
Right.
quit everything and sell everything. Because that sounds scary for like my personality type. I'm like, no, my husband's the opposite. Let's sell our house and our cars and let's travel the world for a year. I'm like, what? But I think that knowing you can do it is, and I know we've all heard it before, but you'll know when it's time to do it because there is a shift within you where you physically can't do anything else.
Yes.
Like if someone gave me something to do that didn't feel right to me, I physically can't do it.
Yes.
I mean, I just can't do it. And that took a lot of work. And like I said, meditation's hard. You're teaching yourself to do something that you have not done your whole life, or maybe you have. It's like brushing your teeth.
Right.
You wouldn't, if you forgot to brush your teeth one day, you wouldn't just be like, forget it, I'm never brushing my teeth again.
Right.
And I was in dentistry before this, so that's why I use that analogy. But you would, you'd find a way. You'd either stop and buy a toothbrush or you'd brush them when you got home or whatever.
I know.
And so meditation is the same way. And once even if you go around your mala once and that's it, pat yourself on the back. Right. Because you're one step closer to who you are, and the more you sit down, and the thing about meditation is the more you sit down and do it, the more you connect with yourself.
Yes. Is that where you find most of your ideas, when you sit in that quiet space?
Absolutely. I mean, or after. Sometimes the quiet space is so blissful that I don't know that there's always thoughts, but afterwards I'll be like, oh yeah, I should do that. Or I'll ask myself, if I get something's brought up to me, I'll sit down and close my eyes and say, how does that feel in my body?
Yes.
Ooh. Then listen to that. That's a gift. I mean, we've turned intuition away a lot because we can Google it, or we can. So I think for those people that want to do something, don't feel like you have to settle. Like, you do need to come up with a game plan.
Okay.
And whatever that game plan is that makes you feel secure. And a lot of us focus on like, what if it doesn't work? What if it's great?
Yes.
I mean, what if it's something you never even imagined, like this?
Right.
I never thought we'd be sitting in a gym that we own and talking about this. This is like crazy grateful. But you just never know. And a door can't, say one door closes for the other one open. Well, you can't feel that until you close the other door.
Right.
You can't have one foot in, one foot out.
And you're a life coach, so this is the coach talking, and it's beautiful, everything that you said. Yeah. If someone wants to say, I love what Megan said, it resonates with me, I want her to be my life coach, how does that work? They just reach out to you and...
it's on my website.
Okay.
Everything. Like on the drop down, I have retreats. I offer yoga retreats throughout the year. I do a women's weekend in Flagstaff. I still have 2 bungalows left for Guatemala and Lake Atitlan. Joshua Tree I do with my friend Shaylin. She's my work wife. And I've met really beautiful people through yoga. I mean, people that, when you think you have friends and then you kind of meet people and you're like, oh, yeah, that's what friendship is. I get it now. But I think a lot of that was me too. I'm way more open to that.
Okay.
And maybe I was before, but yeah, there's Reiki, there's malas, there's life coach. There's a lot of things on there, but some people just email me and ask questions, hey, when I do this, my back hurts. Well, here's a pose to help that, or here's
Right.
a crystal for that. And I want to know who people are. I want to know their practice, you know,
Okay.
and whatever anyone needs, you know, they can always contact me on that website.
Well, thank you for,
Thank you.
you know, allowing space with me this morning.
That's
And you
fun.
gave me so many golden nuggets, not from me. I know I received them openly.
Oh, good.
Thank you so much. And where can people find you? If you can say your website and
Sure.
social media sites.
So my website is moonmalasbymegan.com, and so is my Instagram.
Okay.
It's Moonmalas by Megan, and everything is on there, and I post a lot of stuff, and again, I'm pretty accessible, so if anybody needs anything, that's where they can find me.
Great. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening. Please visit the website at www.leveluptribes.com. And please subscribe to the podcast and share with your family and friends. Be sure to tune in to our next episode. Catch you all next time, my beloved tribes.